Hello, millionaires. Welcome to the Millionaire Money Podcast, episode 10, y'all. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the most limiting beliefs a lot of people have about money, which is you need money to make money, and why this is complete bogus. Stay tuned. All right, fam, let's get into this conversation. So like I said, today we're going to be talking about the belief that has held a lot of people back from even trying to start the fight for their financial future, which is what? The belief that you need money to make money. And if you don't have money, essentially what it's saying on the flip side is if you don't have money, then, well, I guess you're just stuck. And one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation is because so many people are held back from achieving their true financial potential because this is such a prevalent belief that they legit don't know where to start. And in fact, they kind of think it's impossible for them to be able to create that type of wealth and financial freedom that they see other people walk in, because they know I don't necessarily have the same access to resources that those people have. And I know that there's some of you guys where maybe you've been listening to my podcast and you've been listening to the last few episodes. You haven't listened to maybe the very first podcast where I talked about my journey and where I started. But for even people who listen to this stuff, often they think, Toyin, well, it's easy for you to say, it's easy for you to talk about multiplying millions of dollars because you are a millionaire. And the reason I wanted to talk about this, guys, is because I don't want any of you to give yourself a story or a limiting belief that will keep you from the very dream that you're saying that you want, the very thing that you're fighting for, the very thing that you want to be able to show your people is possible. By your people, I mean your family, your friends, the people who look up to you, the people that are around you. You have this opportunity to show them, yes, this is where I started, but this is where I am. And I find that this is a mindset. You need money to make money, and therefore if you don't have money, then I guess you're just stuck. Most people won't think that I guess if you don't have money, then you're just stuck. They just say you need money to make money, and they'll say little side comments like, well, that person had a different start, or, well, that person had it easier. Well, that person must have, I know for some people, we literally assume that if somebody has built a certain level of wealth or success, they must have had a hand out at some point. And so I really wanted to dive into this because this isn't a mindset that just affects people who maybe are not able to cover the bills or are not able to make these large investments. This also affects people who have six-figure incomes, people who have seven-figure businesses and incomes, where whatever level you're at, if you believe this or if you've been comfortable with this belief, you literally don't allow yourself to step into that eight-figure level, the very next level of what is available to you, because you have this thing of, I don't have the level of bank that someone who wants to step into eight figures has. And so why are we talking about this? We're talking about this because until you can break through on this mindset, until you can get on the other side of it, you are not able to actually start fighting. And even when you do fight, because I know some of y'all who are listening, you're like, Toyin, what do you mean about that? Like, I do fight. I'm fighting for a breakthrough every single day. I'm running my business. I'm showing up. I'm giving it my 100%. I'm working my job. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Toyin, I am fighting for a breakthrough. But the truth is, when you have this belief of you can't get something out of nothing, when you have this belief of you need money to make money, even when you take actions, the limiting belief will keep you from actually stepping in. So even though you take the actions, you don't actually believe it's going to get you anywhere. So it doesn't actually get you anywhere. And so it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy where you tell yourself, well, guess what? The main reason I didn't break through, the main reason I didn't make it in the way that other people have created success is because I just didn't have the capital. I just didn't have the resources that they had access to. And yet somehow you watch other people who are creating success, and it looks like success. They're creating success out of what looks like nothing. And a lot of us, we look and we wonder, like, how did they do it? You know, and we with this belief, it's almost like you lose your power and you start thinking, well, when will it be my turn? And for a lot of people, they think that in order for them to start building wealth at the level that they know they're mentally capable of, it needs to start with a miracle. They think like, first, I'm going to get this windfall of money. Maybe somebody, a distant uncle in my line, lineage is going to pass away and leave me an inheritance. Or for some people, they'll think, you know, I'll win the lottery. And for some people, they'll think, you know, something's just going to happen. We don't like to think of the lottery because we're like, well, I'm a lot more practical than that. But we still kind of have this expectation that there's going to be a random happening that's going to bring a windfall of money into our laps, which is what we are going to be able to use to leverage to actually start to build the level of wealth that you want to build. And what I am here to tell you is, if you are waiting for the breakthrough in that like miraculous out of nowhere place to happen before you can build wealth, you've literally painted yourself into a corner. I'm going to say that again. If you are waiting for some random, miraculous windfall of money to be what propels you into creating generational wealth or creating financial freedom for yourself, for the people in your sphere, to be able to give back at the level you want to give back, if you're waiting for something random and external to create that, then you are literally painting yourself into a corner and twiddling your thumbs for most people until they die. And so this now triggers a question, right? So the question becomes, okay, Toyin, so what comes first, right? Is it the chicken or is it the egg? Is it the money? But then if I don't feel like I have that money, is it the ability to create the money? But if I don't have the money, then I can't make money. And so it's like this confusion around it. And I get it. You know, I get why people believe this. And it's so funny. I was recently in our client room. We were having this amazing dynamic conversation. And someone had asked the question around this, where it's like, you know, Toyin, how do I create money? How do I create and build when it feels like, or it looks like practically, if I look at my accounts, I'm starting from ground zero? And so I understand why people believe this, because a lot of people, they look at the account and they go, well, I can't make big moves with what I have right now. I need a bit more to be able to step out in the way that I want to. But the question becomes, are you completely out of the game if you are not starting with that amount of capital? No. I mean, you have to think practically. So you guys know I am very like practical, logical, let's think this through, let's look at the numbers. So yes, I'm like, yeah, you can do this, rah, 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 but at the same time, let's just be practical. Are there people, and all of you just think about this as you're listening to me right now, you're watching the podcast right now, you know, are there people who have been able to build wealth who started in poverty? And I'll let you guys answer that question. Of course, the answer is yes. Because if the answer was no, if that statement was actually true, that you need money to make money, and if you don't have money, then you're stuck right now, what would that mean in the world? It would mean that unless you were born into a wealthy family, I guess it's just you're out of the game, right? Like, unless you randomly get this like random sugar daddy, right? Like, you get this random sugar mommy, whatever it is, then you have nothing. You can't do anything. You can't start anywhere. You can't go anywhere. Does that really make sense? We all know it doesn't. We all know many, many, many people who started with nothing. I even know people who built to millions, tens of millions of dollars, went bankrupt after that, and then built back to hundreds of millions of dollars afterward, right? Like, so If people can do that, if people can go legit full on bankrupt, everything's gone, lost everything, and then build back to hundreds of millions of dollars, could there be something here? Could there be something in this conversation? And so this is where I want you guys to start pausing and just thinking, right? If someone can live and grow up dirt poor and not have access to resources, not have access to connections, not have access to the friends and all of those things, and still become a multimillionaire, become one of the wealthiest people in the world. I'm thinking of someone like Oprah Winfrey, but there's so many examples, literally, like the list is so long. And there's so many people that you don't even know, that you haven't even met, that have that story. It's a very, very common story. So if there's all these people that have been able to do it starting from nothing, then why do we allow this mindset to paralyze us? Because that's what it does, right? This belief of you can't build unless you have these finances, this level, this capital, whatever it is. It literally stops you from even fighting in the first place. And I've seen people, this affects so many different levels, like it affects every level, right? Because I remember talking to someone who was earning $50,000 every single month, and they had this mentality. So even though they had cash flow of $50K a month in their head, they never had what they needed for anything. So they would limit themselves from even trying to do better, which is what they wanted. It's not me saying that they wanted to, that better is more. They're the ones saying, I want more. I want to get to this level. I'm earning $50K, but because of this mentality of you need something to have something, even when they had $50,000 a month, it didn't mean anything to them because in their head, they don't have $100,000 a month. So how can I build to $200,000 a month? I hope I'm making sense to y'all. Y'all put it in the comments. Oh my gosh, I just heard that Spotify has introduced where you're able to rate the podcast. So rate us, like us, review us on Apple, on Spotify, on YouTube, all the different places, okay? All right, okay. Let's get back to it. But to me, it is so interesting because a lot of these money mindset beliefs, they're not limited to a certain income bracket. And often we think that's the case. We think that if I am earning $100,000 a month, then I'm over the hump of having limiting beliefs about money. Or if I'm earning $5,000 a month or $15,000 a month, I've passed that stage. But the truth is, sometimes you have to pause and look and think, do I really maybe live under this belief? Live under this belief, but it's cool that I said this belief because it kind of goes together. And then at the same time, I've seen hundreds and hundreds of people who literally create the financial dream they've been praying for out of nothing. I mean that, y'all. Like, I have watched people, I could give so many different examples. People who have come to us with not working a job in 8 years. And man, let me just wait before I get there. Okay, I'll do the general and I'll give you some specific examples so that you guys start to understand what is possible and what I'm talking about. I've seen so many people create the life that they desire, that they've been praying for, that felt impossible, that was like a dream that they've never been able to get in decades, in years, in months of actively trying. And when they get there, everyone around them, the people in their lives look at them, and to them, they're going, how on earth did that person do that? Like, what just happened? They just have this like, what happened to you? Look, and a lot of the time, the friends and the family look at that person and they think to themselves, and sometimes they don't say it and sometimes they do, well, you must have just got a random like miracle. It was just, God just did it for you. Oh, you were the one that found favor, or you are like, these people are special people When the truth is, they just got into a system. They got into a system. They got help to think differently, and it wasn't easy for them. But for a lot of these people, they look at these people who have created a financial dream, and to them, it's just random. It's just a miracle. So because they classify it as a random miracle, they can hold on to the belief that, well, they must have just got something to create something, and they ignore that this person is trying to show you an example that you actually can create something out of nothing. And a lot of the time, they don't even acknowledge that these very people, a lot of the clients that we've worked with, have had to fight against this very limiting belief themselves. Like, nobody is handing it to them. I remember someone sent me a message on some social media platform, I don't remember where. This was a couple years back. And she was like, Toyin, if you know what to do, you've become a millionaire. How is it that instead of you to just give your money, you're telling people they need to learn how to build wealth for themselves? Like, you're teaching people how to build wealth and she was saying, if you're really a good person, then you would just give your money to the people that need it. And it was so interesting because there was two assumptions in that message that she sent me. One was the assumption, and I could see the limiting belief, and it's heartbreaking, but it's like, I can't change everybody, right? But one of the limiting beliefs that I could tell immediately that she had was that rich people are stingy. Rich people don't give. And it's so funny because, and I know we're talking about another limiting belief in this conversation, but it's funny because the Bible literally says that when you give, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. And so a lot of the time we're looking at people who are wealthy and we think, well, that person got wealthy by hoarding. That person got wealthy by not giving. But the truth is, even if that person is giving, you won't know, because one of the principles of wealth is giving, but it's not showing off that you're giving. It's whack sometimes. You see people are giving to someone that's homeless, and then it's all blasted. I spent 3 years working on the streets, and we didn't have okay, look at the people and look at this and look at that, because sometimes it becomes a show. So anyway, that was the first limiting belief. I could tell immediately she had this belief that if this woman is doing well, then she's not giving. She's not helping anybody actually. But then the second belief, and this was the worst one, because the first one, well, no, it does matter, because if you believe that I was about to say the first one doesn't matter, but here's why it matters. If you believe that rich people are stingy and don't give, and you are a generous person, are you going to give yourself permission to be wealthy? No, because you're going to say, oh my gosh, I would have to compromise who I am to be at that level. So yes, that is one limiting belief that woman had that would literally, just the one, can keep her from ever becoming wealthy. But here's the one that I was going to. The second one, the second belief in her message was, it's better to be given the money than to learn how to create wealth. And that is a bigger problem. That is the lottery mentality. That is this place of giving over your power, literally giving over the ability that God has given you to create and to make something out of nothing into other people's hands. I'm going to wait until someone gets a word from God to sow whatever into me. And now I'm talking about people who have been called to the marketplace. Okay, so I like to be very, very clear. I genuinely believe that, I'm just going to talk right now to some of the Christians that listen to my podcast. Y'all know I'm Christian. And I genuinely believe that in the body of Christ, we are called to support one another, to do it together. And so there are some people that are called to just go out and do that work of ministry. And there are people who are called to the marketplace to do well in the marketplace so that you can support the work that is happening in serving people and giving back. So I just want to make that distinction that as I'm speaking about this, I am speaking to the people that have been called to the marketplace. And if you've been called to the marketplace, if you've been called into business, into a job, into a career, into having impacts in these other areas, you can't afford to be waiting for some random thing, some random money to just show up to create. Okay? And so the people now watch their friends who come through our programs and they think to themselves, well, that person must have just got lucky. And they disqualify themselves and say, I'm at a disadvantage because I just didn't get lucky. And they don't understand. No. That person had to work for it. So for example, I remember one person that came to us, and she literally, when she started our program, she started from the bottom. Okay? Started from the bottom. The bottom. And I remember our first conversation, she actually needed to hustle. She didn't have money just lying around. She had to sell jewelry. I remember she hosted a couple of sales parties for old jewelry, and she did this and she did this, and she just hustled. She got her butt in the room. That was 2 years ago. She's about to have her birthday this last month. Before this month, her team, the same business, same person. I think I mentioned this in the last podcast. I'm just geeking out on her because I think she's done a phenomenal job. But her team sold $250,000 last month. Same person, same business, same everything, different beliefs, different way of approaching life, different decisions. So 2 years ago, she meets us and she talks about it with joy because it's supposed to inspire you, to show you you're not stuck. That when she first came to us, she had to grind and hustle to get that help. 2 years later, her team sells $250,000 in a month, right? But it's not just that. I remember a friend of mine who's a single mom, and when she first decided, she was really struggling as a single mom, and just housing instability, all of the things, and she got fed up with that. She got extremely fed up with that and said, you know what, I need to do something. And she didn't have, in quotation, so for those of you who are listening to audio only, in quotation, she didn't have the money to get the help she needed. And I remember her sharing with me, I didn't know her back then, but she just shared with me as a friend, she sold her car in order to do that, in order to get the help that she needed. And everyone around her was like, you're crazy. What do you mean you sold your car? And she does that. She gets help. She gets a coach. And today she's earning over $100,000 every single month. But it's not just that. There was another couple that recently shared with us just 2 weeks ago, or I don't know what dates. All the days are a blur. It was last week, Friday. She shared with us. She came into one of our programs a year and a half ago. Yes, last year and a bit. Okay, so a year and a half ago. And when they came in, her husband hadn't worked in 2 years. She had been working but not earning quite a lot. So she had to get resourceful, okay? So that's my point, okay? But it wasn't just resourceful to get help. It was resourceful after to get the dream. So they had been wanting to get a house for 10 years. For 10 years, they've been wanting to get their first family home. And they get into the process. Her husband gets a job. She gets a raise in the first year of working with us. She gets another raise in the second year, after working with us. And within 1 year, they got creative. They got resourceful. And they were able to save $80,000 in 1 year. And so I remember, because they live in the Toronto area, and I know you guys listen from all over the world, but for those who don't know, the Toronto area in Canada is known as one of the more expensive places to try to get a home. And so I remember she was like, in our very first conversation a year and a half ago, she was like, my dream is to get a house, but it's impossible, and da-da-da-da-da. And so they saved $80,000 in a year. And guess what? they also get a gift of $20,000. So, oh my gosh, people will look at that and go, oh my gosh, you got $20,000. Look at the miracle. But I genuinely believe, y'all, that the miracles follow the decision and the actions and the $80K they saved in 1 year. Then the $20K comes in to supplement it. They got their new home. They're so happy. A year and a half after getting help, even though the getting of the help was not the mortgage payments itself. Does that make sense? So they got help, and within a year and a half, they were able to do what they had been trying to do for 10 years beforehand. So let me answer your question, because I know the question y'all are asking me. You're asking me, okay, Toyin, I believe you. I hear you. It is possible to maybe, some of you don't believe me yet. That's okay. You don't have to believe me yet, right? We'll fix it because it's a belief in your brain. And if you have a belief, you have a belief. And it doesn't just get fixed because you heard the truth. You have to actually uproot the negative belief, the limiting belief about money. Like if you don't do the work of uprooting it from your subconscious, your logical brain is hearing what I am saying in this podcast, and your logical brain is agreeing with me and saying, yes, Toyin, I get it. We are able to create something out of nothing. Of course, people are broke and they become multimillionaires. Of course, people are stuck at $1 million and they're able to scale to 50 million a year. Of course, your logical brain can agree with me. But if this is something your subconscious brain has been carrying for years, and for some of you for decades, if you don't do the work of shifting that belief, it's not just going to disappear because Toyin said it on the podcast, y'all. I wish it would. I truly wish it would, but it doesn't. This isn't what shifts it. This is to give you the gift of awareness. The gift of seeing, oh, that is something that's been playing. That is a script that's been playing in my mind. So now for some of you who are asking that question, like, okay, Toyin, how do I create something out of nothing? How do I scale my revenue or scale my income even when I feel like I'm starting from ground zero? Here's the first thing. The first thing is you need to decide that you want that next level and that you are going to do what you need to do to get there and that nothing is going to stop you. I hope y'all heard me. Because until a decision to change is made, you will always find an excuse to not get there. Until the decision that I am going, for example, for me, I talk about it sometimes where I talk about the day I got to that point of no return. That night where my husband ate chocolates for dinner, I made an internal decision. I refuse to be back here ever again. We will never have to worry or think about where we're going to get food from. The decision was made, and then the actions follow. The decision is made, and then the provision will follow. The decision is made, the fight is made, the commitment is made before the resources will show up. For most people, the reason they never have what they need to create is because they've never actually made the decision. Many people out here pretending like, oh, no, it's okay. I'm good. I'm fine. They want to look cute in their suffering. It's okay. I don't care. I don't mind. But the truth is they know that is not the level they were called to live at. You know that. You know that you were called to live at a different standard, at a different level, to have a different level of impact, to have a different level of income. And yet you keep telling yourself all the stories and all the excuses because you're afraid to just admit that you actually want to create more. And so that's the first step, is you need to decide, I'm going to create more. I'm going to do what God is calling me to do, and I'm going to have more than enough financial resource to do it. And I'm going to push myself to get creative and create that no matter what it takes. Okay? I will figure this out. So the first step is to decide and get to that point of no return of, I'm going to fix this. I'm actually going to do something about this. And now the second thing is you have to be able to get resourceful. And I talk about resourcefulness in my book, Money Mindset Shift, right over there. All right. So I talk about it in my book, Money Mindset Shift. You can find it on Amazon, Toyin Crandell, Money Mindset Shift. But this is one of the traits that I believe is the most valuable traits that somebody can have to become a millionaire, whether with $1 million or $100 million. Because resourcefulness is the ability to make something out of what looks like nothing. And the beautiful thing about resourcefulness, guys, is resourcefulness is completely free. I'll say that again. Resourcefulness is completely free. And resourcefulness is available to anyone. I don't know if you guys ever heard of moments where mothers, for example, will see their child in danger and they get this, what seems like supernatural strength. And a mom of a child can see her child pinned under a car and literally lift the car to get the child out from under there. Like, this stuff has actually happened. There is a level of fight and commitment that a person gets to where your brain is able to think like it's never thought before. And being resourceful is something that is available to every single person on the planet. Even if you've never been resourceful before. So some of you guys are hearing me say the word resourceful and you're going, what the heck does that mean? Like, Toyin, what is resourcefulness? Resourcefulness means being able to get creative. Being able to think outside of the box. Being able to make something out of nothing. And now I'm not talking about like doing stupid things, doing something that's shady, doing something that's whack. What I'm talking about, even when I say, being willing to do what it takes to get there, I'm not talking about just being stupid. I'm talking about thinking smart. So instead of just doing things the way you've always done it, to be able to pause and think. And this is one of the reasons I think our clients have this immense success, is because in our program, we train them to help their brain calm down enough around money so that they can think at a level that they've never thought before and begin to see the opportunities, the resources that were around them and in front of them the entire time. But your brain cannot see possibility if you keep feeding your brain the lie that without money, you can't make money or you can't get something for nothing. So whatever you believe is what you will reflect to yourself, and it is what you will have in your hand. So I want to say this, y'all. If you know that you have been holding this belief of like, I guess I'm just stuck because I don't have what I need to even start. I'm just stuck because I don't even have the basics. I'm stuck because I'm stuck at 50K a month or 100K a month or 500, 1 million a month, and therefore I can't step into that next level. Then this is a mindset you have to look at. Okay? So what I want you guys to do is jump over. Let's have a conversation with myself or a member of my team at moneymindsetShift.ca/call. That's moneymindsetShift.ca/call. And what we are going to do is we are going to have a very in-depth look at the exact top limiting beliefs that you have about money and what has been keeping you stuck at whatever level you are at currently, whether that's 5K a month, 1K a month, or $1 million a month. And once we have a look at that, then we are going to say, okay, these are the limiting beliefs, the top ones that are keeping you stuck. Now, what do we need to do to shift it for you? And then what we do is we go into a customized proven financial freedom plan that you are able to work decades from today. And so why do we do this? We do this, guys, because we can see that for a lot of people, we focus so much on the tactics. And because we focus on the tactics, we are overworking, we are burning ourselves out, but we're not being resourceful in our approach, and we're losing out on the opportunities that are the lowest hanging fruit right in front of us. Now, if you guys go to that link, and yes, we are booked out like by weeks. We're booked out right now quite a while. That's okay. You know, it's so funny. Sometimes I'll have people email me and they're like, Toyin, the calendar is booked out like 2 weeks from now and da da da. And I'm like, hello, that is your cue that there are other people that are changing their lives right now. So instead of complaining that the calendar is booked out so far, how about you choose your own spots and make yourself show up so that way you can get the help that you need. The reason the calendar, and I'm just saying this because I know some of y'all been checking in with me by email, right? Like, the reason it's booked out is because other people are booking. And so the longer you wait and say, but Toyin, it's booked out, the longer it's getting booked because other people are saying it's my moment of shift. And I refuse to stand back any longer. And I refuse to wait for that miracle to happen. I'm going to put myself in there. Let the day come. Let me have my breakthrough session. Let me get that shift that I've been looking for so that I can start thinking and creating at the level that I know I am capable of doing. And so I just want to invite you guys, like, don't make an excuse. Don't make the fact that the thing is booked out for weeks be your excuse that keeps you from getting the shift that you want. Go to moneymindsetShift.ca/call, reserve a spot, put it on your calendar so that you do not forget. Okay, because we do not give these free sessions over and over again. So put it on your calendar. Make sure you don't forget. Show up, and then let's have a look at what your brain is really doing. Okay, what is your subconscious really saying to you right now? And let's create a different reality. I love you guys, and I cannot wait to see what you are able to produce when you give yourself permission to start having something even out of what feels like nothing. I love you guys, and I'm going to see you guys this time next Wednesday. Peace out. Hey millionaires, thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you want to subscribe, there's a little picture of me right here. Click on that. And if you want to have a free financial breakthrough session with my team, then you can go on ahead and click on the button right here or visit moneymindsetShift.ca/call. I'll see you guys on the next show. Bye-bye.